It blends in really well.
It does. Woo! That favored the Acog. All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? Brandon here with Texas Plinking, making a video that has been in my back burner, and even cameraman Ian's been mentioning it for some time, for quite a while, and that is going to be an AR-15 stress test, particularly a inexpensive, one of those entry-level price point AR-15s from Palmetto State Armory. Now, it's only fair I kind of talk about how we came to this point to be making such a video, and how this rifle came to its point and all of that. Definitely some things to run through before we start beating on it. Anyway, so here's the long story short. Got in contact with Palmetto State regarding two projects that I won't give too much detail yet because it's not gonna be ready for a couple months, but just teasing you guys real quick, they'll be really, really cool long-range guns. Let's just put it that way. But again, they won't be ready for 2 months, but I'm really looking forward to starting that relationship with PSA. Really, really cool guys over there, been in contact with them. I checked even further into their selection of firearms. They're cool guys, man, and they make things for not a lot of money, which is just good for everyone. So that's cool. But because those projects were gonna take a couple months, PSA said, if there's anything in the meantime that you wanna get your hands on, let us know. And I said, what is the cheapest fully built AR-15 you've got? Because I want to do a stress test on it. And they went, well, that's the PA-15. 16-inch, you know, military contour barrel, 5.56, 1-in-7 twist. It's your standard AR. I will say, this one does look pretty cool. I added just a couple minor things purely for cosmetic. Came with your standard law enforcement looking stock. I put on this B5 knockoff stock, 25 bucks on eBay. I put on a quad rail that was like 22 bucks on Optics Planet. I already had these rail covers lying around, and then a Pro Mag vertical grip for $10 on Optics Planet as well. And that came to this look, and then the iron sight was like 10 bucks or 20 bucks on eBay. Then it came to that, and I think it really has a cool SOP mod look to it, but the bear rifle itself, fully built, is $450. That's not bad at all. Well, and we'll see, especially when we start kind of beating on it and running it through its paces in a pretty abnormal way. So that right there on its own will speak volumes to the confidence Palmetto State Armory has, because I told them good and well what my intentions were with this thing and they didn't raise any questions at all. They just went ahead and sent it out to my FFL and I picked it up. But then I started thinking to myself, well, we're gonna run it like this, but why don't we just kind of knock off 2, or in this case 3 birds with 1 stone and test out something like an optic. I'll say this, I reached out to not all optic manufacturers, but let's just say a good deal of them. So of all the optic manufacturers I did reach out to, which again wasn't all of them, I did get a response from 2 of them, and lo and behold, they were the big dogs. So we're going to be testing this thing out with 2 different optics, quite different from each other, so we'll kind of test the rifle in different aspects. That's kind of the goal. I got a response from EOTech, and they sent out the XPS-2 in gray. That is a fantastic optic for no magnification. Although they make their G33 magnifier, we're not gonna be running it, but just for no magnification, lightweight, we're gonna be running it. EOTech's XPS-2 is the shortest and lightest EOTech with the holographic without night vision capability. It's got your standard 68 MOA ring with the 1 MOA dot. Other reticle options are available as well. You can get just the bullet drop compensation, just the single dot, whatever else. Runs on a 123A lithium battery. It's got 600 hours of continuous runtime. However, there's a 4-hour auto shutoff if you power it off with the dimmer, and an 8-hour shutoff if you power it on with the brightening button. It should be submergible up to 10 feet. We won't test that depth, but we'll certainly get submerged today. You can get a green or a red reticle on it now. They come with a black, gray, or FDE finish. Depending on where you get it and which exact model, reticle color, and option, you could expect to pay anywhere from $450 to $600 for your XPS-2. The one as tested is $529. EOTech's bread and butter is their lack of parallax, which means anywhere you look at it, if you could see the donut of death and that center dot, it's gonna go right there, unless it's on the very edge, but seriously minimal parallax at all. So that's why it's trusted with military and law enforcement everywhere, and they're pretty tried and true in rugged optics, so we're gonna run that through its paces as well. So we're gonna be running that one first as our non-magnified optic. So to run the magnified optic, we are fortunate enough to be testing out the Trijicon Acog, or the Advanced Combat Optical Gun Sight. It's crazy to think this optic first came into fruition in 1987. It hasn't changed form a whole lot since then. Pretty much in summary, these things are known to be probably the most tried and true and battle tested optic with its use that it has received overseas and in deployment. Pretty much talking about the specs on this though, you have endless options more or less on magnification, color, the reticle illumination, the mount, everything. This one specifically is a 4-32 TA31F. It's got a green 223 chevron reticle, which has got ranging out for a 223 all the way out to 800 meters. One thing to know with your Trijicon Acog is it is a whole new dimension of clear glass. It just really opens up the battlefield. Pretty short eye relief, but it really pays off with a great field of view. It's submergible up to 150 meters. No batteries required because it's powered with fiber optics to provide daylight illumination, and tritium illuminates the reticle in low light situations, and it brightens and dims automatically depending on the situation you're in. So it's like seriously an optic from the future. I still don't know what voodoo magic they're pulling off to get that. The pricing on an Acog, quite high, anywhere from $1,000 to even $2,000 depending on the model you get, the magnification, all kinds of stuff. As tested, you could actually pick up this exact one we're running today for $1,003 on Amazon or $1,050 on Optics Planet. Both of these are actually able to be found on Amazon or Optics Planet. If you decide to go through Optics Planet, you can use the code Texas Plinking, save 5%, or you could compare pricing on Amazon. Either way, I'll be sure to put the link in the description if you guys want to check them out. So with that said, these being sent out with my email that I sent saying, hey, I got a Palmetto State Armory PA-15, and I'm gonna be doing a stress test, and I want a host of an optic. So for both Trijicon and EOTech, to recommend these ones in particular and send them out shows the confidence they have on these battle-tested optics that have seen use and currently still do see use in instances way more important than what I'm ever going to go through. So that speaks volumes to not only these optics, but what Trijicon and EOTech stand by as well. You guys may be a little bit confused as to why I'm putting on a $530 and a $1,000 optic on what is the whole thesis of the video, an economic build. Well, in short, it's to drive home the idea that I always try to push, and that is guns come and go, or at least their parts do if something were to break and rupture. You can always get different stuff. Optics though, that's what you want to depend on. That's the thing you want to trust, and that's the thing that can be ripped off and put on a different gun later on. But to me, optics are like that jewel that stays with you, man. Invest in it, and you'll be glad you did. All right, for how much we're gonna be shooting today, these ETS loaders are gonna be doing their part and helping things speed up so we can run as many rounds down the barrel of this rifle as possible. So I've talked about them in individual videos and then on the last video, I believe, as well. But yeah, the Elite Tactical Systems or ETS mag loaders, thanks to them for sponsoring the video, helping us out is always much appreciated. Let's go ahead and just get it nice and dusty. I didn't bring a shovel with me, so it might take some time here, but I'm gonna go ahead and collect some dirt and just make sure under abnormal conditions of dirt and dust and everything like that, nothing's going to be interfered too much. Going to go ahead and make sure we get it in the rail system.
It blends in really well.
It does. This is how you do a nice cheaper alternative to Cerakote, guys. You just go ahead and throw this on there. Oh, doesn't that look great? Even though the action and everything's kind of on the other, but you know, just to run it through. This is when you get the pictures for Instagram. That looks great. Right on my shoes. That was smart. All right. Hearing protection. All right, almost forgot the hearing protection there. I don't expect the rifle to have any problems with this, but chest height, that was a good thump. Dust cover came open. Solid. Try one more. Nothing rattling too much except the buffer tube. The first shots I shot with it were right out of the box, and it came to me pretty dry, so no oil in this thing at all. So it's running kind of gritty, but it's pretty slick actually, considering. We're gonna leave the dust cover exposed, or the bolt exposed, by leaving the dust cover open like that. Again, pretty minor stuff. Looks like we got some rocks in there, so you know, naturally I'm gonna shake that. I think it actually went into those ports. That just might give us some problems. We're just gonna go ahead and clean it off and submerge it in some water. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here. This is on quite a slant here, so if I let it go, there we go, it's not going anywhere. Or I say so, and it's probably gonna take off on me. Oh my gosh, good as new. All right, ear pro on. I'm gonna go ahead and use one of these ETS mags. That was kind of gunky. EOTech is still on. How about that? Let's see if we can't find any like mud to put this thing in. Oh boy.
See, now that's a stress test.
That is a stress test. Locked back open. It's running. Oh boy. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and load it up some more. There we go. Cycled up. Locked back. All right, before I move on, I need to clean this thing. Yeah, it's hitting. I totally forgot I zeroed it for like 20 some yards, so at 100 I was aiming a little off, but it's good now. Well, in summary, with that configuration, everything's working, even the cheap stock. EOTech stayed on the whole time, didn't shift zero. We backed it out to 100 yards and made the right adjustment there. Just started aiming a little, a bit to compensate, and that's that. It's performing pretty darn well. It's only getting started. I think at that point, take a good look at the EOTech. It's gone through some drop test, submerged, mud, everything. All the buns are still accessible. Everything seems to want to work just fine. Now it's time for the Acog, and that's it back quite a bit because the eye relief, the blackest part of the gun, is the part that hasn't been stressed out. Let's go ahead and tighten this guy on. All right, and we are good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and load up a couple more here, get this thing zeroed in at 100 yards, and then we will conduct the rest. Looks a little high. Well, it's pinging steel, and all I did was adjust it once, so that's good enough for me to conduct this test. You can see how much easier it is to shoot offhand at 115, 120 yards with a 4-power. I mean, Acogs are just meant to be any circumstance, shots on target. I mean, that is what they're meant for. Go ahead. The gun itself's pretty dirty. I don't want to ignore it, but definitely throw some on the optic, just so it matches. I'm all about the cosmetics. All right, and a rock. Good measure. This thing was just dunked in water. We started off with the dust, then went to water, now more dust. So, might be creating some mud, which it's also experienced. So, if it's gonna be problematic, should be any second now. Dusty, but locking back, man. Chest height. It bounced that time. One more on that side. Woo. And the other side. By the way, for a $20 quad rail, bravo. Woo. That favored the Acog. That took a brunt force on the Acog. It actually picked up quite a bit of grass. All right, I'm not concerned about it. I don't think Trijicon is either. Yeah, well, surprise, surprise. Whatever, we'll keep the dust cover open, doesn't really matter. That's nice. Nature's so beautiful. That should be long enough. All right. All right, finally, we got a little failure. Let's go ahead and diagnose that. Looks like it failed to go all the way back. See if that's something that the old controversial Ford Assist will do. Doesn't look like it. All right, let's go ahead and strip the mag. We got 2 more loaded up in there. Let's see what happened here. I would imagine might have short stroked it because there's water in the buffer tube. Ooh. This one's gonna be a little tough.
Striker fire? Or
No, it didn't get hit at all, but it had some gunk on the back, so maybe that was on the firing pin that got tacked onto here. I don't know, but then again, it should have fed. This is the one we were having problems with earlier. Guess who's back? I should have done this on the first mud test. I just totally forgot. Wasn't totally safe. But if you tape off the muzzle, the chances of things going into the barrel and, you know, clogging it up are obviously much less. The reason we want to do that, I know this is a stress test. I don't want anyone complaining saying, oh, you're pampering it. The reason you do that is purely for safety. Whether it's a $450 gun or a $4,500 gun, if you have some obstruction in the barrel and you try to shoot with the compression in there, it's going to blow your barrel up. Doesn't matter what gun you're shooting. So that's just a safety thing. All right, y'all, let's do it. Let's go action side first. Oh boy. Oh, nice, right on me. All right. Not a bad job though, I will say. I am finding some kind of amusement out of this. Hopefully you guys are too. End of the day though, I am doing this because I want to show y'all that if you guys have your doubts on certain equipment or whatever, I'm doing this abnormal stress test. Just to show you guys that under normal use, you can expect it to do you quite well. I need a shoe sponsor is what I need. This thing just got really heavy. There's like mud in places. I don't know how it got there. Let's see it. How about that? It locked back, man. Look at that. That mud is just on the verge of just going in. Oh, that's horrible. Look at that. Locked back though. Oh yeah. All right, so after that last submersion, I gotta say there's a lot of just grime in there. Let's see if we can run it. I got a few shots in here. Oh, that was sluggy. It seated all the way in there. That was like slow motion. Hopefully the gases on the shots will kind of cycle it from there. One thing, I wiped off the glass real quick on this Acog and literally clear as day. So, I mean, that's awesome. Literally, the glass is so not tucked in there, so I can literally just wipe it real quickly, anti-scratch, and then with my shirt, just wiped it there. Literally, you would not think the Acog's been through any water or anything, but clear as day. Considering how sluggy that got loaded in there, it's gas such to where it just throws it back. All right, from here on out, what do we do? I guess try to clean off a little bit more, submerge it some more, and then stretch it out to some distance and use that bullet drop hold over and see how that Acog acts at that point. Let's go for it. Bolt open. Ooh, that just came right out of the action. All right. Oh yeah, that's a lot of water in the buffer tube. It's starting to go in with pretty good authority, but then that's pretty grimy. All right, see if we can't make some distance shots now. Well guys, I think it's not, what am I doing? It's not a stress test on my Walker headset. I'm just in this mode right now, I guess. Everything's just getting abused. That's that. We're not done yet though, so don't tune out. The rifle is certainly not done. But I really don't know what I could do under these circumstances on this Acog or the EOTech. You know, we dunked them, we dropped them from, you know, normal height. In a bad case scenario, you know, you're gonna drop your rifle from like waist height. We went a little higher, did not shift 0 at all. So they're pretty bang on, man. Just a little wipe on the lens and crystal clear. For all intents and purposes, these are some of the baddest sights you can get right now. I mean, there's like the tiers I see as far as optics are cheap, look cool, and they're for toys and airsoft and stuff like that, just to look the part. Above that is something usable for real firearms, but you're not gonna enjoy yourself with it. Above that is really good value, really good, usable, clear, all that stuff. But there is that one tier above that, and that is military grade. And that is tried and true with what the military uses, because they're gonna run it through the ringer far more than I can. And both of these are certainly in that category. Anything EOTech and anything Trijicon, you're just gonna be that class above. So that speaks for itself. I say, out of the respect for the Trijicon and respect for the EOTech, I'm gonna go ahead and retire both of them and get a little silly with the rifle. As a tip to the hat, to the EOTech and Trijicon, they are done. I'm very impressed. I can't wait to use them in future builds and show you guys how they go. This isn't the end of the PA-15 though. It's not done yet. We're gonna go ahead, close the bolt, load up this mag, and well, it looks a little cool, distressed, but I think it needs a little bit of a makeover, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a little rattle can spray paint job. I went ahead, took the liberty to mask off all the important areas. Okay. You know, some people charge money for this stuff. Cerakotes. Let's go ahead and let that dry and go to the other side.
You can kick some dirt onto it now.
When I just hey, Ian, chill, dude.
Hey.
Take it easy.
Yeah, it falls off. It falls off.
I mean, we won't be able to find it. Look how well it blends into the environment. Iron sight is nowhere to be found, so I'm gonna go to where it might have fell off, and we'll go ahead and try to find that. Rail covers slid up some. They don't really want to come back down, but alas, we're gonna go for it anyway. Ooh. Ooh, all right. Looks like it is so dry.
Have you considered dunking it in water?
Oh, that's a good idea. We just spray painted this thing like 2 minutes ago. Yeah, still not. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go to the bed of the truck actually, and take it apart once more, see what's up. All right, guys, so here's where we're at right now. Still trying to work through it and see if we can get it up and running, but man, it's gone through a lot. When I close this, looks like it doesn't compress all the way down, like the actual bolt itself doesn't go into the carrier group. And no matter what I'm doing, forward assist, all of that not happening. So we tried to dunk it in water some more, try to really force it in there. Right now it's not really wanting to come out until I really just bang it on the buttstock real quick. Like that. And you know, when it's all the way open, it's totally normal. So it's having a little bit of problems right now, but seeing if I could diagnose it while we're out here. It's not something I could take apart because if the bolt is still a little bit in the buffer tube, I can't really split the receivers. All right, off camera, not much has changed except the formation of my thumb. I was trying to get this charging handle back pretty good, and I sliced myself pretty darn good. So we'll deal with that at a later time. So pretty much right now, I got the bolt to slide open, but as soon as I slam it home, the bolt doesn't seat all the way into the bolt carrier group, so the bolt carrier group doesn't go all the way forward. I tried to split the upper and lower together, and the bolt carrier group is just in the buffer tube enough to where it's not splitting up. So for all intents and purposes, this might be done for this video. However, I would like to tinker with it when I get home, throw some oil in there, try to really piece it apart and see if I can get it operational with minimal effort. Hold that thought. The show goes on, and here's why. Good news. I was fully wrapping up the video there, expecting to close it off and saying that, well, it's done well enough. Here's the thing, guys. The bolt itself was actually poking out of the carrier group, and whenever I went to go pull the charging handle back, it was so stiff I had to slam the buttstock on the ground as I was doing earlier. That's where I cut myself. I was holding this pretty firmly and went like this and just sliced myself on something. I still don't even know what the heck it was. So what I did is I got some oil, I sprayed it down, I locked the thing back to the rear again, I slammed it with a hammer this time, which is smarter to do. Got it to lock back to the rear, and I just doused the inside of it with oil. With the dust cover open, I just doused it in there, really pointed the nozzle down into the bolt, and then I just left the gun muzzle up against the wall so all the oil can seep in there because it is dry and just rutted out and dirty. After letting that thing sit down there for 5 or 10 minutes or so, I went ahead and pressed the bolt release, and it slid all the way back. Well, so that's a big win. And then I thought, great, it's 100% already. So I tried to pull back the charging handle, and again, way too stiff. Pulled out the hammer again, brought it to the rear, pressed the bolt release, and it went all the way forward. At that point, I went, now's my chance. I'm just going to take this thing apart, and that's where we're at, guys. So what I'm going to do is just take it apart even further, down to like the very, very firing pin and everything like that. Probably take apart the trigger group and just get this thing some touch, love, and care, guys, because it needs it bad. And hopefully, I'll be filling you guys in on a 100% operational gun in about 5 minutes here. So stay tuned. All right, guys. So I just put it back together after cleaning it down to the firing pin and everything like that. Right now, I would say this is operational, but there's only one little hiccup, and I'm wondering if just firing it will kind of break it in some more or kind of fix itself. Right now, I got the bolt locked back. It's all cleaned up. And right now, hopefully again anyway, it's been doing it consistently. If I go ahead and press the bolt release here, that should go all the way, and it sure does. Really, really nice and affirmative. No gap here. That right there should be then ready to fire. Go ahead and press the trigger. Sure enough, and that's all the way seated in. The only problem here is kind of hard to do with one hand. I'm going to go ahead and rest it on my quad here. If I pull it back, it doesn't want to come back any further than what right there, as you see it. And I'm really trying to force this thing back. So the way I have to do it is go ahead and press it up here. And while holding down that little thing right there with my index finger, I hammer the other side of the charging handle right here with the hammer. I just nail it back and it goes back open. So with that said, with the force firing with the gases and the spring pushing it forward, with the momentum, it seems to want to feed every new round, and it should shoot. And then the bolt, it catches open, holds the bolt open. You go ahead and load in a new mag, send it back home, and it should keep firing. So it's completely operational. It's just the only hiccup at the moment is for some reason this bolt doesn't want to come back. But it's not the bolt, it's not the charging handle, it's the upper receiver. I tried a different bolt and a different charging handle, one at a time, and then both. It doesn't matter. My good bolt will not, like out of a different gun, does not want to go all the way in without some force in this upper receiver. So it's something to do with the upper at this point. I don't know what it is. But like I said, with enough force, hammer that back, you could get it to lock back. And maybe that'll just become easier in time, and then it'll be as if nothing ever kind of hiccuped with it. But the long story short, I have every reason to believe that is operational right now. And as long as you just fire mags through it and then keep going until they lock to the rear, you dump your mag, load a new one in there, this thing should just keep on shooting. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and at the beginning of the next video, just kind of talk about this rifle briefly and see if that's true, and we'll shoot it some more. Long story short, I don't think this is going to be this is the only stress test video on this gun, but I kind of want to keep you guys up to date in the future. Now the stress test is really just putting a lot of rounds downrange with this gun. But as of right now, it's still working. It's got one little hiccup, but it went through a lot today. I think we could all agree on that. So now I think I could conclude the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Catch you on the next one.